Hello, my name is Bernard Marlow. I'm a family physician in Canada, and I've been involved in continuing medical education since 1979. I'd like to talk to you today about continuing medical education in Canada, and more specifically, online CME. Canada is a very large country. We have a population of only 35 million people, and the number of physicians in Canada is about 80,000, and half of those are family physicians, and half are other specialists. In spite of our wealth and size, Canada ranks last in economically developed countries for wait times, for surgery, for diagnostic testing, for consultations, etc. And there are many complex reasons for this, which I won't get into today because that isn't the topic of my presentation. Continuing medical education participation is compulsory in Canada. You need it in order to maintain your license as a physician, and also if you have fellowship in either of the two colleges, you need it to maintain your fellowship and membership as well. For family physicians, you must have 25 credits per year minimum and 250 credits every 5 years. For other specialists, they require 40 credits per year minimum and 400 credits every 5 years. The Royal College accredits as the accrediting body for specialists and specifically for online CME, and you will see that most of the criteria mimic those of live events or programs. So for a program to be accredited online, it must meet the organizational, educational, and ethical standards for live events, and the following apply to asynchronous web-based group learning activities. Asynchronous group learning activities must provide an opportunity for interaction between faculty, facilitators, and participants, and the participants must observe the interaction of other participants with the faculty and facilitator. Acceptable options for interactivity include discussion forums, chat groups, teleconference, video conferencing, and Twitter or email. Credits begin to accrue when you log on to the interactive component, and that you get Section 1 credits, which is a higher level of credit, and Section 2 credits for reviewing any related posted materials. So a lower number of credits or a lower category of credit for reviewing materials related to the presentation. Certificates of participation are only given to participants after they have logged on to the interactive component, and credits are awarded based on time with a 15-minute minimum, and time spent for an individual is recorded on the honor system. I would point out to you in particular this 15-minute minimum, because I do not think that this necessarily replicates how people learn online, but we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. For family physicians, they have similar criteria. Participants must be able to register and receive a receipt or record of registration. There must be a definitive period of time during which the program is available. And participants, again, must have an opportunity to interact with faculty and other participants. The number of assigned credits is based on a best estimate of the time required to complete the program, including reading time, discussion board entries, and so on. And so you can see that for the College of Family Physicians, you get the level 1 credits for the entire program, including reading time. Now, we don't have good statistics for participation in online CME in Canada. The last statistic we have was from the Canadian National Physician Survey in 2010, which showed 53% reporting doing online CME. But a more recent study was done in the United States by the Elsevier Office of CME, and it showed that 97% 7% of U.S. physicians plan to increase or maintain their current level of online CME during the next year. There was a significant pullback in attendance at live meetings and conferences. Furthermore, in the USA, smartphone usage has plateaued at 80 to 85%, and 47% are classified as digital omnivores who use tablets, PCs, and smartphones in their practice. The development of associated medical apps is growing rapidly and currently numbers about 100,000. In my humble opinion, most online CME in Canada, and everywhere else for that matter, is rudimentary in design. Why do I say that? Because most of them follow the one and done model, which is a replica of the live program. It is a single event, and there is little or no follow-up afterwards, which again, if you look at adult learning theory, is not the way adults learn in general or in particular online. These programs are not data-driven, so they're not based on real needs. They're often based on perceived needs, and they are not linked in terms of data, although they are required to be evidence-based. The multimedia that's being used, if it's being used at all, is very basic. It's often the talking head, video of the speaker, somewhat like we're doing today, but this is part of a larger program, which is quite acceptable. If it's the only part of the program, I think it's less acceptable. There isn't a wide use of social networking and linking of learners together into learning networks. And the evaluation of these programs occurs at Moore's level 1 and 2, which is basically a happiness index or an intent to change practice. No outcomes are measured or links to quality improvement. This is not going to be satisfactory for the digital natives, the children who are being born today, who are being born into a digital world. They think differently and they learn differently. And it's not just those who are being born into the world today. Those who are in medical school now are digital natives, and they will be graduating shortly, and they will expect a very different type of online CME than what is currently being offered in Canada and, as I said, elsewhere in the world. Just a quick word on this presentation. I've tried to stick to a delivery method called Pechakucha, which was a movement that was started in Japan about 10 years ago. And it says that the ideal presentation should be 20 images and 20 seconds of speaking per image. And so I've tried to approximate that. And that's the end of my presentation, and thank you for listening.